more kids that are being escorted out.
Another mass shooting in the US at Parkland in Florida has given birth to a new campaign for tighter gun control. One that's being led by America's youth.
My generation is the generation that is living through these mass shootings, and pretty soon all of us are going to be able to vote.
I never thought I'd be sitting in a wheelchair trying to learn how to walk again.
Over the next half hour, we'll meet victims of gun violence.
There is literally a hole in my heart that will never be filled.
We'll talk to those who've lost a loved one.
He threatened my life, word for word. I'm gonna shoot you.
We'll go on patrol with the police officers fighting gun crime.
But this girl here, you can drop it in sand, dirt, it doesn't matter, it will keep shooting.
We'll speak to those who want the right to keep their guns. And we'll ask whether the new anti-gun movement is here to stay.
These young people have power. Some can vote, some can't vote yet, but they can still vote with their dollars.
Marching for their lives.
Ready to go! Ready to go!
A new generation has America's gun laws in its sights. The Parkland massacre has inspired them to take to the streets in their hundreds of thousands, here in Washington, D.C. and across the country. Articulate and motivated, they're demanding change.
My own personal fears include my friends being hurt. I have a younger sister who's in middle school. Some of my best friends are still in high school, that someone could have such an easy ability to hurt them. And then as a Black American too, I really fear hate crimes, and I feel that as if gun legislation isn't passed, then it becomes an easier threat to me, an easier target, and I can't safely live going day to day if I'm afraid for my life constantly.
My generation's different because of the political climate that we're coming of age in. Due to the Trump presidency, there's been an outpouring of activism, and I think the Parkland shooting was particularly traumatizing because of the videos of the violence and the gore that were shown, and I think social media has also made it possible for us to mobilize and organize and coordinate events like the walkouts and like this march.
After every mass shooting in this country, there's a sense of outrage and a clamour for change. But there does seem something very different this time. The scale of this protest, for example, is unprecedented. The question is whether the momentum being generated can carry through to meaningful change of America's gun culture.
I went to my mother's house to do laundry, and I had my 1-year-old daughter with me. I heard the gunshots, and I really wasn't worried about it because where I'm from, they shoot all the time. But the gunshots sound pretty close to my mom's back door. So I moved my daughter out the way, and when I bent down to pick the laundry basket up, and when I lift up, a stray bullet went through the back door into my neck. I laid there for about 15 minutes. My mother was gone to the store, and I lost a lot of blood. My daughter was crawling in the blood. And I waited till my mom came and found me.
Tamara is just one of more than 60,000 Americans injured by guns every year. She's now paralyzed.
And I have to explain to my children that I can't walk. I'm sorry. I mean, my mom, my family, everybody just so hurt by this situation. I'm very angry. Because I didn't have nothing to do with what went on out there. I have nothing to do with it. Sometimes I blame myself, like, why I didn't move out the way, or, you know, when I heard the gunshots, why I didn't, you know, back away. Sometimes I do blame myself, but...
If any city represents America's gun crisis, it's this one. Just over 300,000 people live in St. Louis, so it's not exactly a big place. But last year there were 205 murders here, nearly all of them carried out with a firearm. That makes it statistically the most dangerous city in America and one of the most dangerous in the world.
Okay, we'll have you get on the side of the mat.
Patrick Mason was shot 5 times by an unknown gunman.
And then we'll have you work on getting your legs up on the mat too.
This is the reality behind the statistics of gun crime, the long and painful struggle back towards a normal life.
There you go. Beautiful. Okay. Straighten these guys out.
Yep.
That's fine. There you go. All right. So we're gonna work on your core. You're gonna sit nice and tall. So we're gonna just work on in and out.
In and out.
Like this. Yep. Okay. Do that for about 30 seconds.
This is very tough. I never knew that all of this will depend on my upper body strength. So it's a lesson learned for anybody that going through this. I would never wish this on anybody. So with anybody that come through this situation, I just tell them to stay focused and never give up.
You deserve a whole pan of macaroni after this.
No macaroni.
Yeah, that's enough.
Stuffed mushrooms, asparagus.
The type of program we do here is really focused on their independent mobility, and so we work on transfers, moving around in bed so that he can do functional things like getting dressed, getting himself in and out of bed. So really the overarching concept is that we want him to be independent, and he's been making great progress.
Patrick was driving through St. Louis when he was shot.
I heard so many pop, 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 pops. I thought it was firecrackers, so I didn't pay attention. Then the blackout happened so quick. Like I say, as soon as I crossed the stop sign, not even 5 seconds, I heard the pop, pop, pop. I blacked out, crashed into a car.
And tell me about after this shooting. What's it been like since?
Really hard. Like, it's emotional. Some days I did cry, but I just keep my spirit very high and keep going. Like I say, I never thought I'd be sitting in a wheelchair trying to learn how to walk again. Like, this is some hard things to learn all over again. Like, I wouldn't wish this on nobody.
You have police killing people, people killing people, people killing police. Now it's just too much. No one is actually thinking about what they're doing with the guns. I don't think a lot of people are taking the classes that you have to take to get your license that you had to have before. So at this point, because I had to go through gun violence, I don't even want to be near a gun.
Gun violence is stretching America's healthcare system to breaking point.
A lot of times those folks, depending on the situation, have to come in on special types of status for the protection of themselves or the staff. So it requires private rooms, it requires additional resources for security and that sort of thing. And just the pressure on the medical system as a whole. I mean, many of these patients are spinal cord injury. They're not all. Some, I mean, there's multiple types of gunshot wounds, but what we see a lot of are spinal cord injuries, and they're going to require care for the rest of their lives.
For those of us who are outsiders to America, it seems extraordinary that people are allowed to have guns and so many guns. Do you share that sense of bewilderment?
I do. I think my son has lived in London for the past 7 years, and it's been interesting to see his perspective, you know, because I guess this is all we've ever known. You know, I mean, we've always had open gun laws and stuff, but in talking with him and the comparison, it's just amazing to see the differences, and you can understand why the rest of the world thinks we're insane. Yeah.
But many Americans remain wedded to their firearms. In a population of 325 million, there are an estimated 300 million guns in circulation. Dwayne Bess keeps 13 at his home.
So first and foremost, I've actually my conceal and carry that for personal protection for myself and my family. It's a 6-hour P338. And I also have, for my recreational use, my KSG. This is a very fun recreational toy. It actually has 14 shells on each side, and it's one of the more fun shotguns that I enjoy to shoot. Here is my AR-15, what we call the black gun, right? The fun thing about this, as a hobby, you can trick it out however you want. Put sights on it, handles, you can adjust the grip, you can do a wide variety of things with this. This is an absolutely fun weapon to shoot. It shoots a .223 and a .556, so it has versatility with the ammo, which I really enjoy. And then you have, you know, the old school thing that you see in the movies with the Cold War, you know, type of fun gun. It shoots through anything, and it shoots in any situation. This one, you know, the American-made gun, you have to take care of it, got to clean it, you know, treat your baby nice. But this old gal here, I mean, it can be in dirt, sand, it doesn't matter. You know, it'll continue shooting, and that's why people love it. Low maintenance, the ammo's cheap, and it's just a lot of fun.
Why do you need any guns at all, let alone as many as this?
Well, I don't think it's a need by any means, but it's a want. I enjoy my firearms, like I said, for protection, but also, you know, for recreational use. Just like women have a lot of shoes, some people collect cars and stamps, you know, I collect guns.
Shoes don't kill people.
That's true, but people also, you know, they collect cars and they enjoy their cars, and cars kill 3 times as many people with firearms.
All right, so we're good to go. I work on East Colfax, which is kind of a high crime area. I've been working East Colfax for about 3.5 years now. So I know the area fairly well. I know the faces, the businesses, the owners, so. And I definitely know the current crime trends in that area. So that's where we usually focus our area, and we'll kind of float around down there until something interests us that comes out.
Ron Tuggle works at the sharp end of gun crime, patrolling the streets of Denver at night when armed gangs exploit the cover of darkness.
I'm always nervous on duty. I mean, we've had 3 officers shot and killed in Colorado this year alone. I think the fear keeps you safe. I think the fear is natural, you know, instead of being, oh, you know, I've been doing this 13 years and I haven't been shot yet. That's not really the mindset. The mindset should always be, you know, every day it could be the last, you know. It's a very real fear.
Black male 40s or 50s, call takers trying to get a description. Okay.
Someone called, said someone is chasing the caller with a gun. So kind of hold on, sorry about this. I'm kind of speeding it up because we have a cop on scene right now by himself, so.
1400 block for Poplar Cliff.
So I'm trying to get there until we figure out what's going on.
Car's going in on the fight call. The witness, David black male 35 to 40, wearing a white shirt, blue jeans, and black shoes. And the second black male 40s with the black jacket. Only descriptions given. Weapons were seen on the fight call.
How typical is this?
Pretty typical. Oh, there he was. Pretty typical. I mean, it happens. Colfax, we get calls of parties with guns all the time. So what we're doing, we're just trying to get with the officer first and make sure he's okay, because we don't know what's going on yet. 6-3 San, code 6 was 61.
2153.
Hey, go record the crazy guy at Buffalo Wings and things over here on East Colfax, 8208. They're crazy. I went in there and asked why they didn't have soap in their bathroom and questioned the hygiene, the cleanliness of the building. And he said he told me I was some gangster and that I didn't know what I was doing. And so he pulled out bear mace and told me to leave. And as I'm walking out, he runs around the counter and starts chasing me out to the parking lot. He was running, and as he was running, he said, I'm gonna shoot you, literally, he threatened my life, word for word. I'm gonna shoot you, I'm gonna shoot you, I'm gonna shoot you. Over repeatedly.
This guy's hand in his apron or whatever? Yeah.
Just like this.
6-3 admin service.
All right, let's get back in the car. This gentleman believes that he had a gun in his apron because the shop owner was saying, I'm gonna shoot you, I'm gonna shoot you. So he's running, thinking the shop owner has a gun. So they're good here. Corporal Vincent's going to talk to this guy, and if this guy wants to press charges, he'll take care of that. We're just going to swing by the store. Yeah. So we're going to go see the other half.
So you're going to check to see if this guy has got a gun?
Yes. How do you know he's a gangster?
He left the store to his car to get a gun. So I was following him.
He walked out, says he's going to get a gun, and came back?
I came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the camera will show him leaving and coming back?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can't bring the camera up now?
No, we're going to go, but he didn't give me a chance. He didn't give me a chance. He said, turn around, search me, and put the handcuffs.
Okay. So, but you can bring it up. If we need to check it out,
we're going to go check the cameras.
Okay. Do me a favor, just have a seat for 1 second, and we're going to talk about it. You want to sit him in a car? Okay. They're going to hang on to this guy. We're going to go back and talk to the other guy and see what.
And you have to take the claim that there's guns involved seriously.
Always take the gun. I mean, that's why we came, because we heard gun on the air.
Well, this sort of scene is a reminder that there may be this huge debate over gun ownership and changing the law, but many guns are illegally held anyway.
Jemaine Andre isn't allowed to own a gun at all anymore. These days he's a personal trainer and life coach, but when he was younger he was jailed for armed robbery, ending his love affair with firearms.
My parents hated guns, so I was not allowed to be around them, but my uncles loved guns, and they had tons of them. And I'm talking Uzis, they had all the Scarface gangster guns. So I started learning about guns in the wrong way. Nobody took me out and taught me. So of course, when I turned 15, 16, in St. Louis, you can acquire whatever you want. And guns started coming my way. You know, I started with a .22 pistol, then it moved up to a shotgun, and you know, eventually I had all the guns I wanted. Now, I wasn't a criminal or anything like that at that time. I just loved guns. I like to take them apart, put them together, shoot cans, just do stuff like that. You know, and that's what started me with them.
But when a friend successfully carried out a robbery, he saw a way of solving his own money problems.
So of course, when he came busting into my house, you know, with the money and a ski mask, and we saw $3-4 grand sitting on the table, like, well, that could pay all our bills. You know, I'm from St. Louis. I'm from the gangster city. You know, how am I gonna let this hillbilly, you know, do this? And you know, and I'm looking at my woman sitting here, and I'm like, we're about to be homeless. I have to do something. So then that's when we decided to pull an armed robbery up in Wyoming.
In a sense, you're a victim of guns because you ended up in prison for having one. What's your attitude towards guns now?
I still love guns. Of course, I don't deal with them right now. You know, I'm more into the swords and the knives, which are more the martial art type weapons. But I think, you know, I think personally, if you ask me about the gun issue in America, it's horrible. You know, the irresponsibility, the fact that people think that's the answer, the way to answer problems. Of course, criminals are going to use them because it's power. You know, it makes them stronger, it makes things easier, it makes things faster for them to do. But I think America is just too deep. We're buried too deep to be trying to get rid of our guns.
Alex was just all smiles and made friends with everybody. I mean, he had friends, you know, all the time. And even if they were strangers, if he talked to them enough, they were his friends.
Alex Sullivan died along with 11 other people in the Aurora Cinema Massacre in 2012. His father has become a politician with the sole aim of bringing about tighter gun control.
I wasn't aware of what was out there. I didn't know how much people could buy. I mean, in our instance, our killer was able to, order 4,000 rounds of armor-piercing bullets, have them drop shipped, to us. I had no idea that was, the possibility. So it's just letting, people know about that, and then you let them know what the consequences are.
But the push for reform isn't straightforward. 70% of Americans now say they want tighter gun control, but 4 out of every 5 want to keep the right to own firearms.
That is part of our history, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. But even the Supreme Court made it clear when they applied the Second Amendment to the individual right to legally possess a firearm. Even the court suggested that there are many ways in which that right can be regulated. And so it would certainly pass judicial muster were the age for acquiring a firearm to be raised, or for universal background checks to be instituted. Those kinds of changes would not disturb the constitutional right to own a firearm.
And if change comes, it could well be driven by the new generation, inspired by what happened at Parkland. Already some businesses have been cutting their ties with the country's powerful gun lobby.
I think that this is going to be a more long-lasting and permanent change. I think that we are seeing a shift. I think that this next generation will be defining our politics and our laws and our regulations, and I think that this is a movement. And I think just the fact that you see brands that are actually taking note and taking action, I think is really indicative of the fact that these young people have power. Some can vote, some can't vote yet, but they can still vote with their dollars, they can still vote with their brand influence, they can still move the meter for a lot of brands as consumers today, and more importantly as consumers and voters tomorrow.
Having been taught the skills to cope with his disability, Patrick Mason is returning home. The house has to be adapted.
Well, what I've tried to do is our bedroom was back there, but I had to pretty much make this the bedroom so that he could easily get in and out because the doorways are not the right size for him to do it. So to reduce the amount of work that has to be done, this is now our bedroom, which was the dining room. This is going to be a whole bathroom, but this portion here is going to be his shower area. And so there's no plumbing whatsoever. We are home and there is no toilet, no shower, no anything. But this is what we're working on.
For Patrick and others affected by gun violence, big challenges lie ahead. They're trying to be positive.
So the process was long, because it feels good to be outside. So like I said earlier, stay focused, keep your spirit high, motivated.
I feel blessed. I thank God I'm alive. It's not luck, I'm blessed.
You just hope that, I'll get to fall asleep and maybe Alex will, be in one of my dreams that night and I'll get to see him. And I've been lucky. I have seen him and spoken to him and I've heard him speak, many times, since then. So, I just hope tonight's another one of those nights.
America's new generation believes if it gets its way, there'll be fewer victims of gun violence in the first place.
I think at the end of the day, it'll come down to politicians listening to us, but I know that we can vote out those who are protecting guns rather than our lives. I think my generation will bring the change no matter how long it takes.
So America's gun debate has been reinvigorated, perhaps with a greater intensity than ever before. But this country is particularly polarised at the moment, and any attempt at meaningful change will be fiercely resisted. I'm John Brain. You've been watching a TRT World special.